So a year ago, I investigated the Gettysburg Orphanage with my friend Michael. It was hands down one of my all-time favorite investigations. I caught a lot of really interesting things and caught probably the best EVP I had ever caught. So the biggest downer to this investigation was that I actually thought I lost an SD card that had an experiment and a few other things that I filmed on there from the night. For an entire year, I could not find this footage until recently. It looks like there's something jammed in there, which I don't understand how that could be. Wait. Oh my gosh. It is my old SD card. I found it and I definitely caught several very interesting things on there. So this is the lost footage from the Gettysburg Orphanage investigation. Well, it did go down a little bit. It went from 74.8 to 73.9. If there's any little kids here, you can roll the ball around if you want to play with it.
No, I wish I was shorter.
So you see me sitting on my camera. An experiment that I wanted to have going was I brought a ball, a toy ball that was easy to roll around, but not too easy where it would just blow all around. And I put it in the pit. So the pit is where children were sent for solitary confinement as punishment. Some of the children's spirits are still in the orphanage, so I wanted to bring the ball as kind of like a gift to them. Maybe they could feel like they could trust me if they represented something like a toy that they would be interested in. And I thought maybe I could catch some activity surrounding the ball. So you see me setting up, and I leave this in here because I really want you guys to know where I'm at in the time that this is filming, and I want you guys to hear me leaving. Also, I do note the temperature, and this is very important, and this is going to come up multiple times. I note that the temperature was 74.8 once I started filming. It did go down to 73.9, which is not a huge jump, but it is something. So when it comes to the pit, I do feel like it would be a little bit colder in here. So 73.9 is not that exciting of a temperature drop in my opinion, but we will get to the temperature later on. So I leave and you can hear me leaving, but Michael is staying behind and he's filming a little bit in front of the pit. I leave this in here because again, I want you to hear when we both leave, and also there is a moment where you can see the temperature in the pit because I left the thermometer there and you can see the temperature has dropped down a little bit more. It is 72.9 at this point, and now you can hear Michael leave and you can hear me say I didn't want to start without you. So that's my proof that we're no longer at the pit, but we are in the front part of the basement. Next thing I think is really cool, I caught shuffling of footsteps that came by the pit. I caught that on my camera that had set up to try to see if the ball would move at all. I didn't catch that on my other camera that was in the front of the basement where we were.
So I was asking if there was any children back there, if they wanted to come play with the ball. And I thought I saw the corner of my eye, I thought I saw a shadow. I moved my camera to see if it was me, and the way I was holding it, it wasn't.
That could be my camera though.
Oh.
Or not.
It's not going off again?
Okay, well that was weird. That went to 40.46, now it's going down.
So your EMF detector spiked?
Yeah. Is anybody here?
Can you knock on that? Did that spike again?
Yeah, it went up to 51, now it went down. I put it up to all the wires, and the only time it goes up is when I put it like all the way up there, but it's too far off to get that reading.
Well, it shouldn't have if you're just holding it there. And,
yeah.
Look at that one.
We we wind up separating. Michael goes back towards the pit and I'm in the front of the basement still. And then Michael kind of freaks out. So I come running back all excited because something had just happened.
Did anything move at all?
I don't know.
Hold on.
You can also see on the thermometer the temperature dropped 64.5. That is a huge temperature drop. That went down 10.3 degrees. That is the biggest temperature drop I have ever had on investigation. So the air would go on and off throughout the night. However, by the pit, the vent was closed and there was no airflow back there. So we have Michael freaked out. We have the temperature dropped really low. And then my EMF detector goes insane. I get extremely high readings. It's going off left and right. All this kind of correlates together to me. It all kind of proves that there is something there. So I had both cameras running. I caught an EVP on my camera that was in my hand.
I think I'm gonna crawl in there soon.
The one that was set up by the pit, I didn't catch this EVP on this camera. I think that's interesting to note. I really thought that it would be on that camera and I was a little surprised that it wasn't.
Wish me luck getting in here. And getting out of here. Oh, it's creepy in here. It kind of like feels weird in here.
Does it? I wonder why.
I mean, I feel like vulnerable in here, which is odd.
Well, that's because it's like, you can't just run away. Like, you gotta like, try and crawl out of there.
I climb into the pit and I state that I feel kind of vulnerable in the pit, and there's a voice that says, ooh, that's messed up.
That's messed up. That's messed up. That's messed up.
I find this EVP pretty interesting actually because of what it's saying and when it said it. It said it right after I said I felt vulnerable inside the pit. I swear this sounds like a cat meowing. And this is really interesting because earlier in the night, our guide actually told us that they had a little cat set up upstairs that is supposed to meow. But he started meowing when he was turned off.
And then as we stood here, one final thing that kind of creeped us all out, our little friend here, he meowed.
Oh, does he meow normally?
He's supposed to.
Okay.
During, as the program goes on, there's one point where he meows and it's really creepy. So he's supposed to.
Okay.
But when we do our ghost tours, this room doesn't have power to it. We shut it off beforehand. And we know that for sure.
Wish me luck. Hopefully I catch something. Can you knock on something? Rosa, are you here?
I asked, can you knock on something? And then you hear 2 knocks.
Can you knock on something?
I asked Rosa, are you here? And there is a voice.
Rosa, are you here? I feel wind in front of my face. See what the temperature is. 73.2. And then it just went down to 73.0. And now it went out back to 73.2. And I just felt like there was a gust of wind in front of my face. Like not a gust, but a breeze. I kid you not, I heard something over here. And there's one that's out there.
While I'm in the pit, I have an experience where it feels like there's wind in my face. And it just felt like a gust kind of went by. Almost like if somebody walks by really quickly, you can feel kind of like just the wind smack you in the face. Like not a huge gust, but there's something. Once I feel that, I'm kind of taken aback because of what it feels like, and I instantly, I instantly know kind of that it feels like wind or something because somebody's walking by me. So I grab my thermometer, I look at it, and there is a small temperature drop in this moment. Also, the AC had not been kicked on for some time.
So I did a dowsing rod session just a minute ago, and the rods So I did a dowsing rod session and the rods crossed, and then when I tried to tell you this, that the rods were crossing a lot after my dowsing rod session, my camera shut off. And I've heard noises, and I thought I saw something at one point.
So I was doing a dowsing rod session, and for the first time the entire night, the dowsing rods did cross several times while I was in the pit. So once I was done my dowsing rod session, I wanted to go and tell the camera I just finished the dowsing rod session and they did cross multiple times. This is the first time tonight. I turn on my camera and start talking, and it just turns off by itself, and you can hear it on this camera. So that's pretty cool that I caught my other camera turning off on this camera. I'm really glad I had both going, and I could back up my footage, back up my evidence, and back up my experiences.
Well,
Thanks.
do you believe that ghosts are here?
Oh, I believe there's something here, yeah.
I always think it's interesting to hear like the people who work there, because they're here the most.
Michael and I do switch, and I go upstairs, he goes downstairs into the pit, and I had a few experiences that I caught on camera, and I had some that I caught off camera.
Did you get in trouble?
Did Rosa punish you?
Did you knock the books over?
Can you make a noise? I did hear a noise over there. Did you hear it?
I did ask for someone to make noise, and it was followed by a bang. Something that happened off camera that you guys unfortunately did not get to see. My one camera died, and I was trying to switch the SD cards, which is how I thought I lost my SD card. I was trying to switch them so I had the one with the bigger memory in the camera that was working. During this time, I had my EMF detector sat down on a bench the entire time we were upstairs, and it wasn't going off. It was at a steady 0. All of a sudden, it picks up some of the highest EMF spikes I had all night, and it's going crazy. And of course, it happens right when my camera dies. I do feel like that's kind of interesting to note. My camera died, and then I had these EMF spikes. So I tried to quickly switch the memory cards in my camera, and unfortunately, I did not catch any of that, because as soon as I did, and as soon as I turned on my camera, the EMF detector went back down to 0, and it stayed at 0 for the rest of the night. So the last thing I want to talk to you guys about are these pictures that you're seeing right now. These pictures, when I saw them, I really truly think that they are dust. I know a lot of people would take this and say these are orbs, and that's exactly what they are, and there is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. However, in my personal opinion, I do believe that these are from dust. I do have to say, it is a little weird that this one picture has so much dust and then other pictures don't have any. But some pictures have some. One picture has a ton, and others have none. It is a little odd, but none of the orbs look weird in my opinion. They don't look odd or off. They don't make me think this is an orb from a spirit and not from dust. I had a great time investigating the orphanage. It was definitely a very interesting place. It is a place that I feel like I actually have a theory onto who is haunting it. I definitely would like to go back in the future and investigate it some more and see if I can get any more evidence that back up my theory. It was definitely one of the most interesting places I had been. As always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. And if you're not part of the Gold Team already, I would love to have you here, and you can do so by clicking the icon to the right of me. I promise you it's fun. We have a good time here. And if you're just wanting to watch more paranormal content, I have a few videos linked down below for you guys. So thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for being here. I hope you enjoyed and have a spectacular day.